you a fighting chance. I've already won the election.
If you're referring to that straw ballot of Richard's, it doesn't mean a thing.
From the very start, the producers knew they needed just the right actress to play Patty and Kathy Lane, identical cousins with clashing personalities. Patty Duke was already well known from her Oscar-winning performance as Helen Keller, which set her apart. Still, the idea of one person playing two roles was risky and called for someone with versatility and immense charm. During early auditions, Patty Duke's expressive face and ability to switch accents impressed everyone. Chemistry was important, not only between Patty and the camera, but with the actors who played her family. William Schallert came in to read for the role of Martin Lane, Patty's father. During his audition, he and Patty read lines that went beyond the script as they improvised jokes and side comments, immediately giving the sense of a true father-daughter relationship. Jean Byron, chosen to play Natalie Lane, had a gentle but firm presence, and her rapport with Patty during auditions helped her secure the role. Paul O'Keefe, who played Ross Lane, Patty's younger brother, stood out among dozens of boys his age. He could deliver both mischief and sincerity, and in the screen tests, his timing with Patty was natural, making their sibling dynamic believable right away. Eddie Applegate, cast as Patty's boyfriend Richard, was originally brought in for a smaller role, but during chemistry tests with Patty, producers saw how easily the two could banter, leading to him becoming a regular. With each actor, auditions often involved improvisation and spending time together between takes, with directors watching how the energy felt in a family setting. Over several weeks, as scenes were tested and actors swapped in and out of roles, the cast that emerged didn't just fit the parts on paper, but resonated in a way that felt effortless on screen.
You'll develop more mature interests. Girls will be among them.
Not me.
Initially, the directorial vision for the Patty Duke show revolved around capturing the magic and mischief of identical cousins in a way that felt playful yet genuine. Directors like Sidney Sheldon, who co-created the show, worked closely with other directors to keep the tone light, the pacing brisk, and the comedic timing sharp. The creative style drew inspiration from vaudeville sketches and classic screwball comedies, ensuring that scenes moved quickly and featured plenty of visual gags and witty dialogue. The look of each episode felt clean and bright, highlighting both Patty and Kathy's contrasting personalities through the use of split-screen effects and cleverly choreographed doubles where collaboration was key. Directors spent significant time with Patty Duke, guiding her in switching fluidly between two characters, often in the same scene. This effort demanded careful coordination with the camera crew and editors, especially while producing the dual-role illusions that became the series' hallmark. In rehearsals, the directors created a space for actors to try punchlines different ways and explore their characters, while also giving room for improvisation. The guidance extended to the supporting actors, encouraging them to react authentically to Patty's rapid role changes, which reinforced the show's playful confusion. With strong communication between departments, everyone understood the importance of timing and technical precision, but always in service of a warm, family-friendly atmosphere that would appeal to viewers of all ages. The result was a unique blend of technical ingenuity and light-hearted performance rooted in mutual trust between directors, cast, and crew, setting the Patty Duke show apart as both a technical feat and a heartfelt sitcom.
You've done it again. We'll call him first thing in the morning.
Back in 1963, the Patty Duke show hit TV screens and quickly stood out as something special. The series starred Patty Duke in a dual role as both Patty Lane, a typical American teenager from Brooklyn Heights, and Kathy Lane, her sophisticated identical cousin from England. The show became famous because of Patty Duke's energy, her funny performances, and the show's unique twist of one actress playing two different characters who looked the same but acted so differently. Every episode brought laughs, confusion, and even a few touching moments as the girls traded places or tried to fit into each other's worlds. Audiences really connected with the comedy, and sometimes the surprising, more serious moments when family and friendship were tested. Besides Patty Duke, the show featured classic Hollywood actors like William Schallert, who played Patty's father, and Jean Byron as her mother. Many fans remember having their favorite character, whether it was Patty's free-spirited attitude or Kathy's calm and smart personality. Did you ever find yourself wishing you could switch lives with a cousin or friend? Do you have a special memory tied to this series? Maybe watching it with family, or laughing about it at school the next day. Out of the classic Hollywood actors who appeared, which one was your favorite, and why? There are many funny, shocking, and even sad facts about the Patty Duke show coming up. So don't go anywhere. We would love to hear your stories and memories about this show in the comments below.
I don't blame you for being angry.
Despite being set in Brooklyn Heights, much of the Patty Duke show was made at Desilu Kahunga Studios in Hollywood. The interior sets were crafted with an eye for bright, inviting spaces, particularly the Lane family living room, with its detailed mantelpiece, large bay window, and classic suburban decor of the era. Designers worked hard to create the illusion of a real family home, even though everything was filmed thousands of miles from New York. The backdrop through windows, carefully lit to show either daytime or nighttime scenes, added to the realism. Exteriors such as school scenes sometimes used stock footage of real Brooklyn buildings or cleverly disguised studio backlots. The greatest technical challenge came from one actress, Patty Duke, playing both cousins, Patty and Kathy. Producers used split-screen effects, rear projection, and a body double, making sure every shot matched perfectly. This required precise blocking, steady camera setups, and careful lighting. Sound engineers and editors carefully timed Duke's dialogue between twins so it sounded natural. Makeup and wardrobe had to design costumes distinct enough for viewers to instantly tell the characters apart, while Patty Duke herself worked with a dialogue coach to perfect Kathy's British accent and reserved way of speaking versus Patty's lively American style. The crew worked long hours to choreograph scenes where both girls appeared together, with Duke sometimes acting to empty air on one side of the set, then switching costumes and repeating a scene. Each of these techniques, the split screen, the moving camera, the lighting design, was considered groundbreaking for family television. The result brought twin magic to living rooms across America in the early 60s. However, the Patty Duke show stands out from the typical evil twin storyline that many people recognize from other television plots. Rather than featuring a troublesome look-alike intent on causing chaos, this series flips the formula. Patty Lane, energetic and a bit scatterbrained, represents what viewers might see as an everyday American teenager. In contrast, her identical cousin Kathy Lane is calm, refined, and comes from an English background, bringing a sense of poise and sophistication to the Lane household. The way these two girls, who seem so different on the surface, get along and help each other forms the heart of the show. Moreover, the success of the show owes much to Patty Duke's talent. She manages to play both roles with such distinct personalities that it's often easy to forget the same actress is behind each character. With the use of split-screen techniques and carefully staged shots, the illusion of two girls is believable and smooth for its time, though it's Duke's performance that really sells the effect. She easily switches from fun-loving Patty to thoughtful Kathy, which shows not just technical skill, but true acting ability. Adding to this, the show benefits from a cast of supporting characters who contribute to its charm. William Schallert plays the level-headed father, Martin Lane, while Jean Byron as Natalie Lane provides steady guidance as the mother. Paul O'Keefe as little brother Ross mixes humor and mischief, fitting right in with the family dynamics. Each actor complements Patty Duke's dual performance, giving the show a warm sense of family life, even as it takes on odd or whimsical situations. Though some viewers might not call the Patty Duke Show their all-time favorite, many found it enjoyable and even clever. It sometimes reached into the tradition of older screwball comedies, delivering episodes with fast-paced humor, misunderstandings, and innocent chaos. Yet, compared to other comedic series, some might see it as simply pleasant rather than truly outstanding. The longevity and fondness people have for it shows that it made an impression, even if not every viewer thought it was the best of its time. Furthermore, the show's idea of two girls who look alike but are so different ended up influencing future television series. Later examples like Double Trouble and Sister took the same concept, though those shows used real twins, making the visual effect less of a technical challenge than what the Patty Duke Show achieved in the 1960s. Even with these later variations, the original holds its place as a creative twist on familiar television themes. Overall, the show offers gentle humor, relatable family moments, and a sense of novelty brought on by Patty Duke's double act. While some may find the situations old-fashioned or the comedy light, there's also something appealing about its simple, cheerful presentation of teenage life and family values, set against the fun of mistaken identity and switched roles. Instead of focusing on conflict or villains, the series wins over its audience with warmth and a touch of high-spirited fun, ensuring its story remains well-remembered many years after first airing.
I've seen you in sessions with Coach Coughlin. Those plays are so complicated I couldn't follow them.
That's different. That stuff's simple.
Meanwhile, the music in the Patty Duke Show offered an upbeat and catchy soundtrack that echoed the youthful and playful mood of early 1960s America. The show's score, shaped by the creative hands of Sid Ramin and Harry Geller, used bright, brassy tunes and swinging rhythms to punctuate comedic moments and highlight the double-life misadventures of teenage identical cousins Patty and Kathy Lane. Listeners could hear touches of jazz, pop, and light orchestration, all recorded by television studio musicians who worked quickly and skillfully to match the fast pace of television production. The iconic opening theme, with its memorable lyrics about "Our Patty loves to rock and roll. A hot dog makes her lose control," not only introduced viewers to the show's quirky premise, but also immediately set a cheerful, inviting atmosphere. Throughout each episode, subtle music cues underscored emotional beats. Light flutes and strings would play when Kathy's refined British self appeared, while lively piano and drums would follow Patty's more impulsive American antics. Insights from musicians who worked on the show recall how the cues were often written under tight deadlines, requiring improvisation and close attention to the timing of slapstick scenes and heartfelt teenage dilemmas. The result was a musical background that felt alive, never overwhelming the dialogue, but always nudging the audience's feelings in just the right direction. The combination of personalized motifs for each cousin, the catchy theme, and playful background cues showed how music and storytelling blended closely together, reflecting both the innocence and the gentle humor that made the Patty Duke Show a beloved part of television history.
Teacher, or a nurse, or a scientist, and invent something to help you.
Back then, the creation of a sitcom featuring a 16-year-old lead with her name as the title stood out as a rare achievement. Patty Duke herself became the youngest person to headline a self-titled television show in the United States, leaving a unique mark on entertainment history as of 2017. While the show brought together a cast of strong performers, it is worth noting that William Schallert, who played the father, earned recognition far beyond television. He received the OBIE Award for Distinguished Performance in 1971 for his work in the trial of Catonsville 9 in New York, showing his ability to succeed in serious theater as well as comedy. Among later cast members, John Spencer's story drew interest for an unexpected connection between his personal life and his career. Years after his work alongside Patty Duke, Spencer played Leo McGarry, the White House Chief of Staff on the West Wing, a character with a history of alcoholism and heart problems. In real life, Spencer, who had conquered alcoholism since 1989, died of a heart attack just before his 59th birthday in 2005. The writers honored this by having his television character pass away the same way. These off-screen stories, layered with the show's unusual premise and young star, give extra meaning to a series that originally appeared to be a simple family sitcom about identical cousins navigating teenage life together.
Who was Thomas Paine?
Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine. The forward of Clinton.
Suddenly, you find yourself drawn into the living room as the unforgettable split-screen scenes unfold, with Patty and Kathy Lane facing each other. One brash and all-American, the other prim and proper, yet identical in every way. The direction by Sidney Sheldon is tight and clever, pushing the technology of the era by using precise camera angles and careful blocking so that Patty Duke appears as both girls in a single frame. For 1963, this was both a technical marvel and a charming bit of television magic that made audiences smile at the seamless trickery. The performances take these tricks beyond gimmick. Patty Duke's acting turns on a dime, lively slapstick for Patty, soft restraint for Kathy, both bristling with energy, especially when arguments or misunderstandings escalate. Critics at the time noted how she never slipped out of character, making each twin distinctly believable. Duke herself once laughed in interviews about the close timing needed to talk to herself and not trip over a line. Sometimes, she said, her brain would argue with itself about who she was supposed to be. Visually, bright, pitch-perfect lighting cuts through the set, giving scenes a cheery and instant familiarity, while camera movements are simple to keep the focus on Duke's dual performance. Scenes where the twins switch places, tricking adults or causing minor chaos, stick most with viewers. These moments, often underscored by playful or sentimental music, feel both zany and warm. Director Arthur Hiller commented that every episode was a dance of rehearsals and technical fine-tuning, but the most fun was watching the crew try not to laugh behind the scenes as Duke, utterly in command, hit every comedic beat. These iconic moments worked because they allowed viewers to see beyond the special effects, connecting with the universal story of family, individuality, and belonging. Their impact lasts because anyone who's felt out of place could see something true in Patty and Kathy's mirror image worlds.
Kind of cooperation at home.
We've managed all right for the last 16 years.
During production, the creative team explored big guest stars to boost ratings and capture audience interest. While considering Bette Davis, who was getting attention for her double role in a feature film that year, negotiations broke down because her salary demands and list of preferences were more than the show could handle. At the same time, Frankie Avalon, a recognized performer with a growing reputation, came from a family with Italian roots. His mother, Mary, was born in 1916, and his father, Nicholas, in 1913. And he also had a sister named Teresa. Meanwhile, lead actress Patty Duke had already made headlines in the entertainment business. She became the 56th actress to win an Academy Award and receive recognition as Best Supporting Actress for her role in The Miracle Worker during the annual ceremony held on April 8, 1963. This achievement marked her as a rising talent just before she became known for her popular television role. These stories behind the scenes highlight the mix of ambition, talent, and negotiations that shaped the direction and cast choices during that period.
I told her she couldn't have a slumber party.
Meanwhile, the Patty Duke Show quickly became a familiar part of American households with its clever setup and lively spirit. The show centered on the lives of identical cousins, both played by Patty Duke, and showcased their different personalities. Patty, the fun-loving American teenager, and Kathy, her sophisticated cousin from Scotland. This dynamic allowed viewers to explore the idea of identity, family, and belonging in a light-hearted way. At a time when traditional roles for young women were shifting, Patty and Kathy's contrasting characters showed that girls did not have to be limited to just one way of being. The show's humor reflected everyday family and teenage problems of the early 1960s, including dating, peer pressure, and fitting in at school, giving both younger and older audiences plenty to relate to. The dual role was also a technical achievement for television, and Patty Duke's performances were widely admired. With its catchy theme song and memorable split-screen scenes, the series became a pop culture reference point. Even after it ended, people copied Patty and Kathy's signature styles, and the theme song was often quoted in conversations. The show quietly challenged the expectations placed on teenage girls, encouraging viewers to celebrate individuality, and hinting that it's possible to straddle two worlds without losing yourself. Running in a decade marked by rapid social change, the characters of Patty and Kathy stood at the intersection of old traditions and new freedoms, making the show a subtle but meaningful part of conversations about youth, gender, and American life. In the 1960s taught.
Clock. Something must have happened to him.
Martin, it's 5 minutes to 10.
Oh.
Long before the complexities of mental health were widely discussed, producers shaped characters based on what they saw in their stars. Sidney Sheldon came up with the idea of identical cousins who had very different ways of dealing with the world to show both sides of Patty Duke's personality. At the time, nobody realized that these shifts in behavior were symptoms of bipolar disorder, which went undiagnosed for much of Duke's early life. Behind the scenes, the show gathered a loyal audience. Despite its steady performance, it faced a hurdle when ABC decided to stop renewing any of its black and white series. The company behind the show, United Artists, asked the network for more money to switch to color filming. ABC decided to take a different route and invest its resources in a new program that would come out in color from the start. In the meantime, the show had attracted a varied group of actors and guest stars, including Ronnie Schell, a former semi-professional baseball player. In later years, Schell formed a softball team called the Reruns, which featured comedians like Jack Riley and Fred Willard. He also took up collecting minor league baseball caps from around the country as a hobby. Through its run, the series reflected changing network priorities, the early development of television technology, and changing views on mental health, even as most people involved were not aware of those bigger issues at the time.
What would you like?
Shrimp cocktail, tenderloin steak, baked potato with sour cream, salad, and some strawberry shortcake.
However, critics praised the Patty Duke show for its clever premise, centering on identical cousins with opposite personalities, and for Patty Duke's energetic and convincing performance in both roles. Reviews in magazines and newspapers often highlighted the charm and humor of the writing, noting that the show stood out among other sitcoms due to its fast-paced dialogue and the technical achievement of having Duke play two characters in the same scene. While some reviewers initially doubted the believability of the identical cousin concept, they later commended the show's creative use of split-screen filming and body doubles, making the trickery invisible to most viewers at the time. Audiences responded positively, especially younger viewers and families who found the show's gentle comedy and hijinks appealing and relatable. The show enjoyed steady ratings during its original run, and later became popular in syndication, where a new generation discovered it on afternoon television. Patty Duke's performance received significant recognition, resulting in her winning the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Continued Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Comedy Series in 1964. This accolade cemented her status as a talented and versatile performer, setting a standard for future young television actresses. Other nominations included writing and directing, showing consistent respect for the creative team. These achievements meant increased respect and opportunities for those involved. allowing the cast and crew to move on to other notable projects in television and film.
She gets an A+ in Latin.
You sure you don't mind? Gee, this is wonderful.
During production, there were unexpected incidents and changes that shaped the final show. For example, while filming Night of Terror in 1952, Phyllis Coates suffered a real punch that knocked her out cold. The moment was kept in the episode because there was no time to film it again, highlighting how real accidents sometimes became part of the finished product. Early on, the pilot episode looked very different from what viewers came to know. The now famous theme song about identical cousins was missing, and only a handful of actors went on to the main series. Patty Duke continued to play both Kathy and Patty Lane, with Jean Byron as the mother and Eddie Applegate as Richard. The roles of father and brother were played by different actors, and the family's home was set in San Francisco rather than Brooklyn Heights. Although the pilot never aired on television, footage from it, especially scenes showing Patty Duke with shorter, darker hair, made its way into the theme song's credits. Additionally, Marcia Strassman, known from Welcome Back, Kotter, had a character named Julie, which matched her real sister's name, linking her family to her work in an unusual way. Small shifts in casting, setting, and production details contributed to the show's unique legacy and provided behind-the-scenes stories for fans to discuss.
I've already had my flu shot.
It's the hospital, doctor. They're ready for you.
Back in 1963, the set of The Patty Duke Show was alive with the fun and chaos of television's golden age. Since Patty Duke played two cousins, the all-American Patty and the sophisticated Kathy, the crew had to work out some television magic. Stand-ins were key. Patty's double, Rita McLaughlin, would always stand in for the cousin, not being filmed, learning Patty's lines and movements so everything lined up perfectly. Sometimes, scenes took hours to shoot because cameras had to film Patty on one side, then reset everything, and filming again as Kathy, and finally stitch the film together to make it look like the cousins were really facing each other. One day, a prop boy forgot to switch out a bracelet from one character to another, which led to a whole day of playful teasing from the crew about which cousin borrowed whose jewelry. Meanwhile, William Schallert, who played Patty's father, used to keep the mood light by breaking into funny voices between takes, helping Patty laugh off the stress. Shooting those split-screen scenes was especially tiring for Duke, who, still a teenager, would sometimes get mixed up and say the other cousin's lines. There was a running gag that Patty's catchphrase, neat, 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 would sneak its way into Kathy's dialogue if everyone wasn't watching closely. Between takes, the cast and crew liked to share stories and trade jokes, and although the show looked polished on TV, it was common for the laughter behind the scenes to force retakes when actors struggled not to giggle. Though it was hard work, everyone enjoyed being part of something so new and creative, especially since the split-screen technology was pretty cutting-edge for the early 1960s, and a far cry from today's digital tricks.
Mean any of that, Patty?
Let's face it, he's selfish and ungrateful.
Moving from film to television, actor John McGiver stood out as a supporting player connected to some of cinema's most honored works, appearing in films recognized by the Library of Congress for their significance, including Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Manchurian Candidate, and Midnight Cowboy. Meanwhile, on television, familiar faces and voices contributed to the distinct character of the series. The catchy opening and closing theme was performed by the Skipjacks, whose energetic singing style helped set the tone for each episode and made the theme instantly recognizable. In the supporting cast, Phyllis Coates played a recurring motherly figure, drawing on her earlier experience in comedy, such as her long-running role as the wife in the Joe McDoke short film series, directed by Richard L. Bear, whom she later married. These background details highlight the variety of talents involved in making each episode, with cast members bringing unique backgrounds from both film and comedy shorts. The blend of experienced actors, memorable music, and creative ties to other entertainment realms contributed to the enduring appeal and unique flavor of the show's episodes.
Bored run our errands?
Hi.
Oh, hi, Papa.
You two seem...
Meanwhile, the Patty Duke Show changed what people expected from television in the early 1960s. The show centered around identical cousins, Patty and Kathy, both played by Patty Duke, using clever split-screen effects that were rare on TV at the time. This technical trick allowed for imaginative storytelling and inspired later shows to be more creative with special effects. Audiences saw a young woman leading a series, which helped set the stage for other female-driven sitcoms. The theme of girls navigating school, home, and dating life laid the groundwork for future programs aimed at both teens and their parents. While the show played with comedy, it also gave an honest look at growing up, friendships, and family, ideas that became standard in many sitcoms that followed. Patty Duke's dual performance made a lasting mark, showing how an actor's skill could bring depth and personality to multiple roles within the same show. Later, series like the Parent Trap movies and even modern family comedies owe part of their success to tricks and tones first explored in this series. The repeated idea of look-alike characters and the split persona gimmick has continued to show up in children's and teen television, cartoons, and movies, always giving a nod to how this show did it first. Even as television evolved, the influence of those early episodes can be felt in how producers write roles for young women and siblings, making them both funny and real in a way that appeals across generations.
Did you find out anything?
I found out who he is.
Just tell me his name, boy, and I'll...
Looking back, the Patty Duke Show stands out as a television series that touched many lives during its original run, and in years of reruns that followed. Centered around the quirky adventures of identical cousins Patty and Kathy Lane, both played by the talented Patty Duke, the show brought a fresh sense of comedy and heart to family televisions. If you ever found yourself humming along to the catchy theme song or laughing at Patty's mischievous schemes, you know how the show could lift spirits after a long day. Over time, the show didn't just entertain. It helped shape what many expected from TV sitcoms. It brought up themes of individuality, fitting in, and facing everyday teenage problems with a sense of humor, which was somewhat new at that time. Many viewers felt they connected with the characters on a personal level, especially if they had siblings or cousins growing up. For some, it created memories of family evenings gathered around the television, while for others, it inspired a love of television and an understanding of how comedy could bring people together. Sometimes fans even saw parts of themselves in Patty's spirited attitude or Kathy's calm approach. If it left a mark on your viewing habits or changed how you think about family sitcoms, consider sharing your favorite episodes or moments in the comments. Tell us if you watched it as a kid or discovered it later, and let us know how it influenced your taste in TV or in movies. Share this post with other classic TV fans. Give it a like if you enjoy reminiscing about shows like this, and subscribe if you want to explore more stories and memories from television's golden era.
Emil is in abstract mathematics. Peter is a poet. And August